You know, don't get me wrong. I'd say I'm probably on the further end of the spectrum when it comes to, you know, enjoyment of working out. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. You know, I've never, or at least I don't think that I have the thought process of like, okay, I need to work out because I need to stay big, because if I'm not big, then it's like, that's not exactly what I'm thinking. You know, it's more so I freaking definitely like being big, and I like lifting weights as well, so everything just kind of goes hand in hand. But there are still days where I'm like, shit, man, I'm just kind of tired, coming off of a big ass trip, diet kind of scrappy. You know, and that's a situation I put myself in, so it's not an excuse. And it's like, you know, not awesome, perfectly ideal circumstances. You know, I almost feel like I gotta kind of keep building up my momentum again, especially with some of the leg training. Those last 2 weeks was like, oof. I mean, really, there's just one crazy set of Smith squats, and that was all, right? That is not good. I think I went a little too far doing one quad day a week. I'm gonna bring it back to regular full leg days twice a week. Maybe make one a little lighter quad wise, but still pumping them up. You know, because you give an inch, you give a mile. You know, give an inch, take a mile. So it's a little bit of a situation like that. It might be making me want to slow down on quads. But that is all I gotta say there. So all that, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is like, you know, just, you know, if everything's not absolutely perfect, whatever, right? Whatever, you still gotta wake up. You know, you're still alive. The game ain't over, right? So what do you want to do? Would you rather be the guy who has to look back and think, yeah, every time I didn't feel like it, I just stayed home? Or be able to look back and think, yeah, shit, man, sometimes it feels a little harder than normal. Do it anyway, you know? I'm not trying to say get under a few 100 pounds on a squat. If you can tell you're overly fatigued from the last workout, that's a different story. But if you just feel a little, you know, you don't want to, maybe you're sitting down on the couch, you're laying down in bed, you're playing on your phone, you're in a very comfortable state, we've all been there, and you're not really getting that itch to just jump out of bed and, you know, take your pre and roll, right? That's where you kind of have to create that urgency consciously. Right? You never have to tell somebody to wake up early to go on vacation. They're probably going to wake up before their alarm because they're so excited to do it, you know? But if that feeling isn't there, and that just, you know, urge and excitement isn't coupled with your vibe that day, create it. You know, what the hell do you think your whole body is? It's in your complete freaking control. You know, don't forget, you're not you in the sense that you're your hands and you're your legs and you're everything else. No, you're this little blob of brain on the inside controlling this whole thing, you know. And if you can't take active control over it, then you're just going to be kind of breezed around with whatever outside factors are at play, and before you know it, you didn't do anything you really wanted to do. You just kind of freaking went with the flow. You know, there is a good portion of value of that. You know, don't get too locked into something in every capacity. You know, be able to be open to change and whatever else. But with you know, the things that you really want to get after, you probably you don't have that many. There's not a lot of things where you get to say, all right, I'm doing this because I want to do it purely for my own enjoyment and my future enjoyment from having done it, and I'm going to dedicate a pretty serious amount of time to it. You know, there's not a lot of things like that, right? As much as we're all into kind of, you know, hyper fixating on whatever else or random hobbies, and you know, usually there's only a few that end up really clicking with any one individual. And in the case of working out, if those two things align, for one, something you should be doing anyway, everybody should be able to lift a reasonable amount of weight, and you're really kind of into it and you actually get excited about it, it's a fun part of your day, dude, it's a goddamn perfect storm. You know, so that's my finisher shtick there, right? Even if you're feeling a little make it happen anyway. And then you get to feel a little better because you know so many other people in the world slacked and you didn't, right? It's like if you ever wake up extra early and do your cardio like pre-sunrise, I'm talking like 5:30, there's a little bit of an extra sense of accomplishment just because you know everybody else is freaking sleeping and you just got your 30 minutes in, right? So not an aspect of the lifting to be taken for granted. That's my take there. But I'm gonna thread the needle of this traffic. I'm gonna left turn, go home, eat something, and shit.